Okay, so I am taking a look at my Hong Kong trip where I walked some 80,000 steps over the course of a few days. I went at the end of December 2025, like basically Christmas Day until the day right before the New Year. And it was quite interesting. I actually went to Hong Kong as a second choice. I was going to go to like Chongqing in China, one of those big places to see mega cities in China. But I sort of went back and forth with the visa thing and stuff. And in Hong Kong, as a U.S. citizen at least, I actually didn't have to have a visa. However, one side effect about Hong Kong is that because it's like this mixed colonization place and big for business and stuff, that everything's a little more expensive there, like even the hotels and stuff compared to other places. So it's kind of a trade-off anyways in the end, but it's okay. In the future, I'll go to other places in China. All that being said, yeah, Hong Kong is an amazing city. There's like 7.5 million people in a very small area, and you'll see there's literally, I think I looked up the stats, and there's something like 9,000 high-rise apartment buildings just in that city. And when you're going through and you're walking and even when you're driving through, you just look around everywhere, and you can't help but just imagine like all of these people just stacked deep on top of each other. And it's just a different way of living, you know. There's people out here in the world that live alone with their families on hundreds or thousands of acres, and then there's everybody all through the spectrum, all over the planet, down to people that live in literally just shoebox size apartments in places like Hong Kong. That being said, Hong Kong is a big money city, big business city, and there's a lot of wealth coming in there, so there's also a lot of luxury and beautiful places to live too. So I basically took most of my time to walk around the city and to take their subway systems and stuff. That was a shot of the subway. And just walking around, people watching, and just getting all these little individual shots. It was pretty cool. Here's one of the walkways between different blocks of the city. Yeah, Hong Kong, it's kind of hard to explain. Like, there was a whole colonial era where I think like the British or something were in charge, and there's this big handover. So it's like this combination of Chinese ethnicities and culture, and then English and stuff like that. So yeah, very interesting to see. And of course, it's a multinational hub, and when you're walking around, you see people of all types there. And you know, a lot of districts that have their own vibes, a lot of tourist districts, and then restaurant districts. You might find like an entire block of just one type of food, maybe all Thai food, just on one block, where there's like 20 different Thai restaurants, or 20 different, a handful of different pizza restaurants, something like that, you know. And there's so many different parts of the city. It's so vast and huge. This Kai Tak area, which is this modern area here that we're looking at right now, that's kind of in the area where I stayed, just a couple kilometers away. And that's all very brand new and up to date. And then when you go closer to downtown, you know, you get overlap of years of buildings. Anyways, yeah, the very futuristic and modern parts of the city are quite interesting. Yeah, there's a top bowl. One thing about all of Asia that I've seen so far, at least in the countries that I've visited, is that the malls are definitely still very active, you know, because you're talking about very populated places with a lot of walking and stuff. Such as, for example, where I came from in the U.S., malls are mostly dead in a lot of the country because they were built around suburbia and vehicles. And these days, people just don't want to en masse drive their vehicles and park in a giant parking lot to the malls. The reason malls thrive is because of the foot traffic and stuff, which is popular here. And look, nice example of their firemen and women system. These watches, there's lots of watches and gold and stuff like that in these shops. Now we're heading right here up to Kowloon Peak, where I took a long hike. This is sort of on the way up there. There's all of these older sort of condos, which are amazing. Like, people hang their laundry out like 20 stories above ground, and it's so dizzying for me to even think about doing that, but these people do it every day. So yeah, this whole area kind of going up to the mountain was a bit older, but very cool to see. And here from the very top of Kowloon Peak, you can see all over the city. There's a bit of a haze there. I'm not sure if that was fog in the morning or if that was pollution or not, but yeah, you can just get an idea of the vast amount of high-rises in this city. This was the opposite side, where you can see some of the islands. A lot of tourist and high-dollar, yachts and stuff like that out there. Fun fact, there's like 200 islands in Hong Kong, something like that. I don't know exactly, but it's definitely something like that. And surrounded by these huge mountains that are much taller than where I'm currently at in Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai has great mountains, but these are like very tall. So I actually went and I took a taxi to the top of Kowloon Peak and then walked all the way down and through perilous parts of the forest and stuff, and then down through all these streets and then through these neighborhoods. It was quite interesting to just get that perspective of Hong Kong. Yeah, there's some of those old blocks. Some of these things were probably from the 60s and 70s, and and then they're built on, just like any big city, built in layers. So that's Kowloon Peak and the view from there. Just look at that. I'd love to see that at night, though. A little Buddha shrine over on the side where I was hiking. And then a lot of these double-decker buses in the city. I took one over here when I was heading back from the peak back down to downtown. Love those double-decker buses. So convenient, and they run them everywhere. I mean, a lot of these major cities just have such good public transportation. It's actually quite amazing. People say that they go to nature to walk more and stuff, and that might be true for like a long hike or something, but on the daily, really living in a huge mega city is going to get you walking a lot more. Over here, this part of the city was the first part that I went in. This is where my hotel was on Kai Tak, and there's a little sort of island there where there used to be an airport, and they turned everything into these little tiny rooms, I guess. And it was kind of a chore because you had to take a bus off and on of this. You couldn't just walk out to go explore. You had to take a bus to go somewhere. But it was very interesting to see. This plane was on the property. Basically, it was just a bunch of dorms and stuff that were brand new but very tiny. Quite interesting. Here is over by the docks and stuff where I took a yacht tour of the bay there at night. It was very beautiful. Yeah, and they had these crazy little ships with like advertisements for singers on them and stuff. Beautiful, man, such a beautiful view there in that city across the bay at night with all the lights and all the boats going everywhere. Lovely. It's pretty affordable too to get a little tour like this, and you go on these yachts, and they have basically endless drinks and snacks and stuff, but everybody's pretty reserved. You might get 2 or 3 beers or juices or something, and then a couple snacks while you're on for like 30, I think it's like 30 or 45 minutes on the bay there. And in the background, those beautiful ships were everywhere too, the red sails. But in the background there too, in this shot, there's the AIA Carnival, which you may have seen with the wheel back there. I have an entirely different video on my channel just showing images of the AIA Carnival, so you have to check that out. I didn't really include it in this video because it's a whole other thing of its own. And there's the people disembarking from the yacht. Yeah, and this was right after we walking out of where the yachts are. Saw this dude busking on the street. He was really good. Back down into the subways. Man, I love good subway systems in big cities. I love, love, love that. Okay, now here we are going into the night market. This was called, let's see, yeah, Temple Street Market. There are various different markets with different personalities around the city, but Temple Street here, pretty cool. This guy that I bought these dumplings from had this funny sign on his shop that said, like, so fucking yummy. It's pretty funny. Anyways, yeah, lots of stuff compacted in there. Beautiful, huge, giant murals, like taking up the whole sides of buildings there. There's this guy with the dumplings. Those are good. See, why so fucking? Yeah, and then these walk-through markets. A lot of these had the same stuff, which you find in most cities. Like, you find markets that seem to have similar suppliers and stuff. But then you have these stores around the edge. There's like karaoke places and gold stores and tea places. This place had like turtle tea and stuff like that. Yeah, pretty wild. There's a lot of interesting delicacies in some of these little restaurants that, you know, if you're a Westerner, you're not used to it. There was a snack that I picked up. A lot of little shops like this where you can walk by and see the food through the window and then go and pick your food. They get very, very busy during lunch and stuff. Here is the Kowloon Walled City. So this is the famous place where they used to have the gigantic, in a very small part of the city, they had this giant, basically slum that was built, just dilapidated and built on top of each other, and for years and years it just got out of control, and they ended up tearing it down sometime in the 90s, I think, and they built this giant park on top of it that's very beautiful. But there's all sorts of little facts and tidbits around the park that you can read about the history of the Kowloon Walled City and all of the stuff that went on there. You know, lovely sculptures and art and stuff. Just a very peaceful place to walk around nowadays. Still surrounded by a lot of high-rise apartments and stuff, but nothing that was to that level of, you know, degradation, I guess you could say. There's a bunch of tourists stopping by to see. And yeah, so I'd say overall Hong Kong is a very interesting place, especially if you love big cities and you love mega cities and all that are involved inside of them. It's so fun to just walk around. Like I said, I think I got like 80,000 steps in on my, at least my phone said that. I just kept walking and walking and walking and like exploring more and more areas. There's all these malls and then these buildings in the downtown area that you can walk in that are kind of like malls, but they're like multi-story inside shopping centers. And of course you can take the public transit and you can see different areas of town that specialize in certain genres of stuff. There's really a ton to see, and I would definitely suggest it if you've never been. It's worth a visit, just for all of the stuff to look at. And yeah. So hopefully I'll get more chances to discover more places, but I really just wanted to give a little bit of an oversight of my experience in Hong Kong, since I haven't had a chance to do much with this footage yet. All right, so thank you for watching and subscribing. I appreciate your time.